BD5 Pilot with you out at the Hillsboro hangar, and it's a hot Sunday, 97 degrees on the trip over here, so I'm going to be measuring a few things and discussing some options that I might make with the engine, because I'm getting frustrated over the fact that the Hertz engine that I have on order is still on order and probably still another 60 to 90 days out. So I'm going to take a full set of dimensions inside of this engine compartment and then go into my SketchUp Pro program and then see just what I'm dealing with for amount of space. I can put some of the other alternate engines that I'm looking at. So our first measurement's up at the forward lower part. I have 21 3/4 inches. Now if we move back to where that bulkhead is that basically divides the compartment for the retractable gear to the rest of the engine compartment, right there I've got 12 3/4 basically, and at that point it is 20 1/8 wide. And we go further back to the back here, and I've got 25 1/4 to the rearward portion, and that measurement at the bottom is 13 inches. Now how tall is this area that I've got to go to? I'm going to measure it up to this bulkhead, because this is really your more effective area. There's some things you can fit here, but we've got the curvature of the top that we have to deal with when we get there. So we've got 17 3/4 from this water line to this line in the compartment. And at the rear it's 18 inches. So this does widen out a little bit as it goes back towards the back. Now the overall figure, if we go all the way to the top of this roof area, is 25 inches. But you've got the rail that's for this tube for the canopy that creates some of the difficulty we would have with setting something up taller. Remember, this is coming across in a way that you really can't mount a lot there. And this measurement here is 17 1/2. That's aluminum to aluminum, so I'm going to have to be inside of that measurement to fit there. And that should take care of most of what I need. Let's take the rear here. At least at the back of that opening, we're at 14 inches. 14 inches there, and to get to the, we're 9 1/4 to that opening. Up at the top, we're about 5 inches. And that opening itself measures 23 at the bottom, 23 at the top, 14 1/4 tall, 14 1/4 tall, and it's 2 1/4 up from that part of the base. Now back here it actually drops down a little more. There's control rods for the ailerons, a flat mechanism. This is also where the exhaust resides and runs actually out through the back to these rear. One of the considerations has to be on the drive mechanism. So this belt drive mechanism that drives the propeller shaft, I have to have that aligned so the output shaft off of whatever engine I put in here. And that Hertz 3702 would actually work very nicely in this location. It's just I'm dealing with potentially another 90 days before I can get that. So one of the engines I'm looking at, let's go over the harebrained idea I had. There's some really cool quarter scale engines for radio control that are replica radial engines, and I'm researching to see if actually some of those would actually be viable Although I have an idea that I would be quite disappointed with the overall reliability, the amount of maintenance that they would require, but sure would sound cool, especially if I could get one of those old 4-row 28-cylinder engines in here. The sound would probably just be incredible, and my understanding it's a 950cc engine, so it's actually right in the realm of what I would like. The engine that is really holding some interest right now completely changes some of my ideas on what I would do with this aircraft. And that engine is also gets used in some of the larger scale RC, some of their smaller engines, but it gets used in ultralights and light sports in Europe. It's made in, I believe, Czechoslovakia. It's a ZDZ engine. It's a 500cc boxer, 4-cylinder, 2-stroke, still a 2-stroke air-cooled engine. But this engine puts out 50 horsepower and weighs less than 32 pounds with an electric starter. That's incredible. That would completely change some of the flight parameters this aircraft would have. The stall speed would go down. I would be able to do aerobatics practically with full fuel in the aircraft, so it would really change a lot. I'd have an aircraft that weighed less than 350 pounds most likely, and possibly even a 330-pound aircraft utilizing that engine. So 50 horsepower would actually drive it probably quite impressively. Seth Anderson had an aircraft with just a little over 50 horsepower, and he'd see 200 miles an hour out of it, and it had to deal with the way he made sure he kept the aerodynamics good. Other engine I'm looking at is complete other end of that weight spectrum, and that's Aero Momentum's AM10. It's a 3-cylinder Suzuki engine. Right now, though, what I'm reading, it puts out 75 horse and weighs about 139 pounds. It's heavier than the engine I wanted to put in here. It puts out less power, so that doesn't sound that good. But it is a 4-stroke engine, probably much better reliability, and Aero Momentum is building an engine that is built for aviation. So while it is coming from a car design, they are all new parts. Looks like a very promising company. So I'll be playing with measurements, seeing what will work, what won't work, and who knows what I'm gonna come up with. In the meantime, I'll let you know how that goes. BD5 pilot out. There's a plane taking off.